Okay, we're going.
All right.
We're going. Ready.
Every time I go to open my mouth, you open yours. Shush. Okay. What's up, guys?
Fat.
Oh my God. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
We are the Youngs.
Alex is
knock, knock.
on one today. No.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
No. Literally. What is your dealio today, sir?
You abandoned me all day, so now I gotta make up for it.
I did not. I was gone
Shopping.
for a couple hours.
Shopping. Shoes.
Why was I also thinking that? Shoes. Oh my God, shoes. Let's get some shoes.
The person that plays that reminds me of... I need to put this on Do Not Disturb, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
Reminds me of Jimmy Fallon's character on Saturday Night Live. The one that he's just like... He plays a girl that has braces and he goes, ew.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That reminds me of the same...
It is like the same character.
But
Gosh,
it's not.
If you guys know what that's from... it's from YouTube. It's just like
which
random.
one? The shoes one?
The shoes one. That was like my childhood.
Ew.
That and like Charlie the Unicorn. Charlie.
Was HomestarRunner.com your generation or mine?
Yeah, it was more yours, but I did know about it. And then there was also the goats. I can't remember their name.
Oh, llamas. Llamas and hats.
Yeah, llamas and hats.
Which he has actually got a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter going. I found
to
recently
reboot?
To do like one final thing. Like it's going to be like a full length.
I will donate money. We will put it in the link below. I need that. I need that for nostalgic purposes.
Because they ended the series and he felt like he wanted to do it differently. So I think he's doing I might
have to binge those.
I need to go find that because I saw that recently and I clicked on it because as soon as I saw the article about it, I'm like, oh, I got to read this.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it
else
said.
was there? We also do this.
My spoon is too big.
We also do this one all the time and I don't even know why. Dolphin.
Oh, that's dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats.
That video won like some award like when it came out and that's when they put it on there.
And then there was also the duck one with the grapes, I think.
Oh. Duck walked up to a lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand,
hey,
bop, bop, bop.
Got any grapes? That's what today's podcast is, guys.
All
okay?
the goofy YouTube videos from the beginnings of YouTube.
Gosh.
The things that we melted our brain with. That needs to be a podcast episode, or we can do like
I think this is that podcast episode now.
A March Madness type like bracket system, and we'll put all the like mind melting.
Okay, another one
head to head.
Another
and then
one
we'll have them
is
voted and see
Key
which
and
one's
Peele.
the winning. Nah, that's too recent.
I mean, it's not though.
It is though.
But it's more recent than what we were just talking about. But Key and Peele, like the Aaron skit,
yeah, but the
and the
Aaron
football
skit
one
was a TV episode. Like it was on their show.
Was it really?
On TV. Yeah.
Oh, I only ever watched it on YouTube.
The YouTube stuff that I'm talking about is stuff that was literally just YouTube.
I used to I used to be one of those people who like watched everything on YouTube. Like back, that was in like the day of like Jenna Marbles and everything like that. Like I was like, my TV was YouTube.
I feel like those
I don't do that
videos
anymore.
might have even been before Jenna Marbles.
It was, I think.
Like when Rob and Matt and I were on YouTube. Like our old
Should I tell them what to?
No.
I can't. I'm not allowed to tell them what to.
I'm gonna go in and figure out how to like remove them from.
I'm pretty sure they're on there, and I'm gonna look it up after this.
You can look it up. We're not talking about it on the air.
I'm not allowed to say the name of it.
No.
What if I whisper it?
No.
There is some really funny videos of Alex and his friends on YouTube of them just like being goofy and hilarious. And
aren't those the same two things? Goofy and hilarious?
No, it's not. But it's really funny. The wardrobe and the hair would like it was like roast you though.
No, it was era appropriate.
Okay.
It was
That's true, I guess.
band guy era appropriate.
Not the sideburns, though.
It was band guy era appropriate. Yeah, it was.
The sideburns are a crime.
They are a crime for style purposes, but in general, it was era appropriate.
You should go immediately to jail.
I still have those
Skip
sideburns.
Go to jail.
I still have sideburns. They just connect to the rest of my facial hair.
Yeah, that's normal. The other ones.
Could you imagine the chops that I could have if I did it now?
You did have them.
No, like now, like here. Like, look how wide that is. I could. Man,
Yeah, that's like your whole ass cheek, bro.
I know. I could have some mutton chops. Do you remember that guy at that wedding that walked in? And I go, Veronica, look at those chops. Do you remember that?
Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, 55. Remember that one?
Oh, 55.
I'm going to teach you how to count all the way to 55.
Yeah.
Faster than you can say poopty pants.
Oh my god. I do remember that one, but that one, I think I only saw that one like a couple times.
All right, so before we get started on this, if you have a favorite YouTube video from like way back in the day, like the beginnings of YouTube, when just your mental capacity was non-existent when you were watching these videos. That's literally what that is. It's like literally like
I don't even, yeah.
it's like Homestar Runner, but all of it was on YouTube.
Yeah.
I want to know what your favorite video from back then was. Put it in the link
And
on
link it.
YouTube
Yeah.
in the comments because
Yeah.
I want to binge these now.
So we can all watch these.
And
dumbass
maybe we
videos.
will actually do like a bracket tournament thing on social media.
Okay.
That would be hilarious.
I feel like a lot of, I don't know, we need to look at the demographics of our viewers, but I feel like there's a good like mix of like ages, but like some of these young photographers are going to be like, what the F are the youngs even talking about?
So maybe
on
we
their
actually
podcast?
link the videos so they can watch them and
Let's
then vote
do that.
on them.
Let's do that. If you're listening on like Spotify or something, head on over to our YouTube channel so you can look at these links. You know what? I promise you.
We haven't done the thing yet though, so don't go look at it yet. They're not going to be on there yet. So I'm going to create brackets.
But we could link them.
But I'm going to create brackets based on the links that we get.
But what if nobody knows what this shit is?
Then they're going to learn. They're going to learn about
You're gonna
the
learn
beginning.
Today.
Your head is going to explode with what YouTube used to be when it was the Wild Wild West.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, what are we actually talking about today?
I don't remember.
At this point, we don't know. In case you didn't know, this is still the I Don't Know What I'm Doing podcast.
For those of you who don't know me.
Yeah, welcome back. We are talking about content creators today, which has been a topic that's like been pretty well discussed.
We should have done this topic a long time ago this year, but because of the studio thing and
we took a break.
We were on pause, we didn't cover it.
Yeah. You know what? Here, I mean, it's still a good conversation, and people are still talking about it, and it's like capacity across the board.
Veronica, what is a content creator?
That was really forced.
That was the point.
Okay.
Because I'm sure there are people.
I don't even know how to. A content creator, I mean.
Well, in general, a content creator is a person that creates content for social media.
Yeah.
Period.
So I think in the wedding industry, what we're saying is content creators being hired to do a couple things. One of them is sometimes the vendor hires the content creator to capture behind the scenes.
I think that's how it started.
Yeah.
Is that vendors like planners or florists would hire a content creator to come in and follow them setting up and doing all that stuff so that they had behind the scenes and setup footage and content to post while the photo video team was elsewhere with the couple before, like setting up a reception space, for example.
Yeah.
Photo video team wouldn't necessarily be there, so that way they have content for it.
Yeah. I'm going to pause it real quick. I'm not roasting you. I'm just making this as like a sarcastic comment. We got a comment about how I interrupt you all the time. So watch yourself, brother.
Yeah,
because you just interrupted me.
I responded to that and said, you need to obviously go and watch the rest of our episodes because I do the same thing.
He's worse, honestly. I was like blown away.
Hey, ladies, quit your hating.
It's okay. I like it. Honestly, it helps our algorithm.
Algorithm?
Whatever.
Yeah, thanks for the engagement.
Love ya. Okay, so anyway, I think it depends. So like like I said, vendors will hire content creators to do behind the scenes for them. A couple will hire a content creator to get like organic things throughout the day. And I think some of them also do like planned like TikTok trends and Instagram things.
See, that's the part I don't like about content creating is when you're doing like the TikTok trendy things, because that I think definitely takes away from.
Well, we had a bride who like does influencer stuff, and this day was different because it was like a long day, and we actually had she had time for this, but she did all of that herself.
Oh yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it was recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, but she made time for it. I wouldn't even say it was in the timeline. She just was like, hey, we have time. And I think the girls understood the assignment, so they knew that like she wanted to film these things. But anyway, I think the topic of discussion is like a couple different things that we're going to talk about. One of them is, you'll have to kind of head this up, but a lot of the videographer groups are like, they have a little bit of a scarcity mindset behind it.
There was a solid week on one of the wedding videography groups. I think it was wedding videographers, actually.
Okay.
Literally every other post
was about content creators.
Or more was something about content creators and what's the deal with content creators and are we all going to lose our jobs to content creators and should I switch to content creating? And
well, let's stop there. Let's talk about that. Like, what are your thoughts about like, are you going to lose your job to a content creator? I already know the answer, but like for the listeners.
No, I don't think we are. And I think the only
why and what's the difference?
Because it's a different thing. It's a completely I think that's the best place to start.
Yeah.
Is what is a content creator and what isn't a content creator.
Yeah, for sure.
So a content creator for a wedding, if a couple hires a content creator, that means that they are coming in shooting on cell phones. Sometimes they have the stupid cell phone gimbals.
Sometimes they have cameras though.
I think they should be on cell phones.
I think they should too.
If it's truly a content creator, it is cell phone captured.
But I will say
footage.
I've seen cameras.
Who?
I don't know who, but I have seen.
Every content creator I've seen is on a cell phone.
I know that there's somebody out there that uses a camera.
Either way, I mean, it's my belief that if you're going to shoot...
I agree with you.
If you're going to be a content creator, shooting with a camera like a phone is what you need to use because that's the whole point.
I agree with you 100%.
But that's not really what I'm getting at. It is to capture like the behind the scenes, the more organic type stuff that isn't being captured necessarily by your photo video team. They do stuff with the photo video team too, but like it's more immediate gratification type content.
Yeah.
And it's all shot vertically because that's what social media is. But what content creation isn't is
storytelling.
Isn't a replacement for your videographer.
Yeah.
Because what they're not doing is miking the groom, miking the bride, miking the officiant, miking the speech givers. They're not capturing necessarily the full speech, the full ceremony in its entirety, the full dances.
Yeah.
They're literally giving you little clips and behind the scenes social media style moments of your day. And in most cases, they get that content right away, either same day or very next day.
Yeah.
The last time we did it, we actually did a stories takeover for the groom because he's more active on social media. So we literally would film, and she filmed a lot of stuff, but then specifically would post on his stories.
And then save them to the phone.
And then they were all saved to his phone. He actually had 2 phones, so he gave us a phone, so we didn't have to transfer anything, which made it easier, but that's not a requirement.
Right.
But then there was also some caveats like, hey, we're not going to see each other before the ceremony, so don't post anything until after that because we don't want the couple to see each other on social media accidentally because of the content creating.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think the biggest difference is that...
Well, they also don't go through and edit a film. They don't edit a story.
I think sometimes...
They're not storytelling.
Some packages that some content creators offer include stuff like a quick highlight of the day. That includes all the stuff that they shot, or they'll do a couple different types of edits or whatever.
Yeah.
But in general, that's it.
Or they'll do like those curated TikToks or something like that.
Yeah,
that's more like
ahead.
detailed oriented.
So back to what was the original question you asked me? That I got into that. So
what's the difference and why won't they take your jobs?
Okay, so I think I don't think as a blanket statement it should say that content creation will take our jobs or will not take our jobs, because I think it depends. I think in the market where, like the lower tier market, where entry-level videographers aren't charging that much or are less experienced, or where
Someone
there really
maybe
isn't
does-
a budget for videography,
Yeah.
a couple might do content creation so they have something.
I think that that's the way to go.
That's fine, but it's not, I think it's important to also note that content creation is not a replacement for
right. Video.
actual videography.
Yeah. It doesn't supplement each other.
Because-
I think that there's a place for each one. And I think that they're both important. I think that
Valuable, I wouldn't say important.
Yeah, that's true. I think that obviously videography is like very important, but I think that content creation and content creators on the wedding day, I think it's dope. I think that I support it. I think that there's definitely a place for it in every market, honestly, and like in every like types of weddings, especially in a world of like instant gratification like the wedding industry. I mean, we do the best that we can to get like same day sneak peeks or just next day sneak peeks. But at least like if I was that client, having all of those things on my phone immediately would give me so much joy.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool.
Because you can watch through all the things that you weren't necessarily there for.
Yeah.
Like the guys getting ready or the girls getting ready that you weren't maybe part of, or really anything.
And something that I thought about too, which I know some videographers offer this as an a la carte option. Some videographers just do it. This is not something that we do typically. If I could see us maybe doing something if like it fits the vibe, but like it's pretty unlikely that we would do something like this, is a say something to the camera for the bride and groom type of thing.
Yeah, I don't really care for that.
We don't really do that for our style of films. I know some people do, but I do know that content creators do that. And it's a way more of like a casual, fun thing for the couple. So that type of thing I think is super fun.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that.
Yeah. What are some of the people like in the wedding videographer groups, like what are they like saying, like freaking out about?
Basically thinking that content creators are going to make videography obsolete because they're getting instant gratification. It's cheaper. But like I said, it's not the same thing.
No,
because when you sell yourself as a content creator, but then you also bring in actual cameras and you start miking people, and then you're not a content creator anymore.
No.
You're just a videographer that is shooting vertically and delivering immediately.
Yeah.
That's literally all you're doing.
Yeah.
So I do think content creators are important. I think if you literally have no budget, I don't agree with that though either.
What? Finish your thought.
I was going to say, if you don't have the budget for video, but you can squeeze in some money for content creation, do it. But at the same time, I'm thinking back to our wedding, and would I rather have the footage of our ceremony or our speeches or something like that, or would I rather have a bunch of content from a cell phone? Even if we got married this year and the content looked good, I think I'd rather have the video with the speeches and the ceremony. I want that stuff.
Yeah.
Because the content is just random clips of people having a good time. That's great to see, but when it really comes down to the
importance to take away,
important stuff and the like, what's the word I'm thinking? Like the more keepsake type things.
Yeah.
It's the full speeches, the ceremonies. I want that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to sit and look and watch just a bunch of us being ridiculous.
Which I just had like a thought while you were talking about that. And I was trying to think through like what I would want. And a part of me for a minute was like, well, I think for speeches and stuff, I would be okay with like a video from a content creator rather than a videographer. But then I quickly changed my mind and I was like, actually, wait, no. Because for the simple fact that like we put recorders on the people giving a speech, it's at that point, like personally for me, if I had to pick between the two for like that specific moment, I would say a real videographer, because I know that I'm going to get good quality audio. Yeah. And like for me, that's the point of the whole speech in general, is to like be able to hear these people say these things about you guys. Yeah. So if you were using a cell phone, it would be like weird ambient audio from the speaker, like the actual physical speaker equipment that like maybe wouldn't sound as good. Well, actually, it wouldn't sound as good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like for the ceremony, obviously, I don't think that, I don't think that there is I truly don't know. I can't speak for them. But at least when we do content creation, we don't have them do the whole ceremony.
No,
there's like no way.
We do a lot of Catholic ceremonies too, and those are far too long to be just shooting the whole time on the phone.
Yeah. So like I would definitely want that from my actual videographer.
In the whole grand scheme of things, you're creating content, and content is not long form. Mm-hmm. There is long form content, but like what you're shooting it for in that regard is for small clips.
Yeah. Another thing is like not to like degrade creativity from a content creator. I think that it does take like some creative aspects to be able to do that job well. But at like the end of the wedding day, when we go home, we have like so much more that we have to do. We have to upload, we have all this gear that we have to handle. And then your job as an editor and a visionary is, I would say, like 90% of the overall job. Like you have to be so creative and actually like create a story from beginning to end from this day. And that's not just putting visuals together. It's the audio and like making the viewer feel something when they're watching it. Like there's just so many different aspects that go into being a wedding videographer than just being a content creator.
But I don't want to.
I'm not knocking on the content creator, but like it's different. That's
different.
Why it can't be supplemented is because it's just vastly different.
Yeah, I think in an ideal world you would have a videographer and a content creator.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure that either they're working on the same team.
Yes,
or
we need to talk about that.
There's a lot of moving parts here. Like in general, a content creator is just going to add to the team that is around the couple the entire day. Photographer, videographer, content creator. It's an extra person. So it's important that they know what their actual role is and what their job is as far as the content creation part. Yeah. Because they need to understand that their job is to more or less get BTS stuff and not necessarily direct a couple. Like they're not supposed to direct a couple because that kind of defeats the purpose of content creation. It's more organic and raw. Yeah. So as long as the content creator...
Unless they're having like a TikTok thing filmed. But I feel like if that's the thing...
You plan for that.
You plan for that with the photo video team in the timeline. In the planner. Yeah.
You make time for that so that...
You don't just pop
They're not getting in the photo video team's way.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's definitely a way to do both and all of it. We've done it.
Yeah.
And it worked well.
The way that like we prefer to do it, if anyone's like, well, how do you guys handle it? We obviously, if one of our couples hires them without like discussing it with us, that's fine. It's not like that big of a deal. We just like to have a meeting with them before. But if we know that we have a client that is interested in it, we encourage them to let us hire that person under our team, because that way we just know it's going to be seamless. We also know that what our client is going to receive is going to be good quality content. Yeah. So that's the way that we prefer to go about things. But of course, we're never going to be like, no, you can't hire whoever you want.
We call ourselves visual keepsake artists, and that is all encompassing with all the visuals. So like if you want content creation, let us know, and we will handle getting it. I think the best way to do it is honestly like a stories takeover. Because I think that worked really well when we did it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Because that's what, that way people that either aren't at the wedding or aren't with you all day can actually watch the stories as the day progresses and be there with you and experience it with you.
I think that he got pretty good feedback from it too. Like I think that the guests really enjoyed seeing that stuff. So it's like, it's a really, really fun thing to do even for your guests because it really immerses them into like, the experience of some things that they miss, like the wedding party photos and things like that. They get to see some of the fun behind the scenes on Instagram or something. Yeah.
As a wedding guest, you show up to the ceremony. Yeah. You're there for the ceremony. You maybe have a grand exit, maybe not. If you don't, you just basically leave. Yeah. And then you either have a big break window. Yeah. Or you go to cocktail hour, and usually the couple's not at cocktail hour. Yeah. And then you go to the reception, find your seat, and then is the entrance, and then speeches and dinner. And most of the time, you can't interact with the couple or anything like that until
open dancing or something.
Open dancing starts. Yeah. So I think that helps to help them feel more like included in the entire day, I guess.
Yeah. And I like that. I like when we have weddings where it's like guest focused. I feel like that's always really cool.
Who was it that said?
I think it was Joyce.
Was it Joyce? Or was it Maureen? Or was it Kate?
Because I think I know what you're saying.
They've all said
They've all probably
something
said it,
very
yeah, 'cause
similar.
they're all awesome.
But there was a specific podcast episode. It might have been Maureen. Because we were talking about wedding icks.
Oh.
I think.
Well, what is it?
It wasn't an ick. It was just more the idea that, it might have been Kate. Because now, I don't know. Anyway, one of them said, and I think they would all agree with this, that you can't forget the fact that, yes, the day is about the couple, but they're literally creating a celebration for the people they invited.
Yeah.
So the people they invited are important.
Yeah.
It's not just about the couple. It is,
right.
You're celebrating their wedding and their marriage.
Yeah. But you're hosting this celebration and providing a certain type of experience for all of these 200 to 400 people.
Yeah. I mean, the couple is, I would say, the host before they're the guest of honor.
Yeah.
They're the guest of honor by nature because it's their wedding day, but they're also the host of the event.
Yeah. And so are the parents too. I think that's important to mention.
I think the parents are a big time host, but in general, like, you don't say, most people don't say, I'm going to so-and-so's daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
They say, I'm going to this person's wedding, period.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that are like, I'm going to so-and-so's daughter's wedding because I'm friends with them, not their daughter.
Yeah. But that's a good thing to mention. That was just a side note. Like, I really like when I get to see, like, guest forward weddings. And that's another side note. But that's another thing that, like, we've talked about this. I am focusing a lot. Not that I've never focused on it because I have, but I'm putting extra attention on guest detail things for photography, like guest fashion, and even portraits and things like that. And typically I don't have the time to do it. So that is something that, like, we're starting to train our second photographers on, is like, hey, these are the things to look for. And we're kind of like switching up our style a little bit to have very guest focused content in their gallery. I can't promise that I get every single person photographed, but I try really hard to make sure that there's a wide variety of different guests in the gallery, you know?
Yeah, and I think cocktail hour is one of the most underrated things for that. Yeah. Which I think almost every photographer hates shooting.
I think, maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I think that cocktail hour is so important for that reason alone.
And you invite all these people.
You invite all these people. Like, you want to see them.
Yeah, it's the easiest thing to shoot. I mean, for videography, you don't even have to pose anybody. Like, for photography, because I've second shot with you 100 times. Not 100 times, but a lot. You go in, you see groups together. Hey, let's get a picture. Hey, you want a picture? Hey, you want a picture? And you don't have to find people. Yeah. They're already mingling.
Yeah, sometimes, like, if it's a very stylistic wedding, like, we'll want, like, for video, like a shot of them cheersing or something like that. So we will kind of prompt things like that from time to time.
If you need to.
If we need to.
So like photography, I would do that. Like, obviously that's a big part of it because people smile on the camera, but then also just people mingling, like, candid styles.
Yeah. I sometimes
creative styles.
When I think that's so fun. This kind of has drifted a little bit, but that's okay. I actually kind of like shooting cocktail hour when I'm able to, because those stylistic images of, like, someone grabbing, like, a crab rangoon, like, off the past hors d'oeuvres, or like a glass of champagne or something. I love those. I love getting those. And I always feel a little bit creepy, like a paparazzi following, like, the hors d'oeuvres around to get, like, the perfect shot, and I'll take a billion of them because the bubbles need to be perfect. The hand needs to be
let's be real.
Well manicured. Like, you know what I mean?
The hors d'oeuvres at most weddings are usually the star.
What do you mean?
I think it might just be me.
Like, you just love the past hors d'oeuvres.
I think the hors d'oeuvres always...
They're the star of the wedding?
80 of the food.
Oh.
80% of the time, I think the hors d'oeuvres taste better than the meal itself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know how many times at weddings that I've said...
Not at the Ritz. The Ritz slaps every time.
Of everything, yeah. I don't know how many times that I've said at a wedding, can I just get a plate of hors d'oeuvres?
I know, the toasted ravs.
Just give me a whole big plate of hors d'oeuvres instead of the vendor meal.
Yeah. And sometimes they have like tuna poke and like sushi. Like what?
Ahi tuna.
Yeah.
Or what was that one? Oh, sometimes had like shrimp cocktail cups.
Oh yeah. We had one with like mini grilled cheeses.
Oh, those were freaking awesome.
Fire.
We made those at home because of that.
Yeah. But anyway, like what I was saying is I like getting those, you know, like you have to like look for the right person. And I like that. It's always like kind of a challenge. But I think that they're important because when you're looking through the gallery, you want it to really set the scene and tell the story of the day. So those things, although they seem like minuscule compared to the overall day, I think they're still very important.
Well, because you have the details.
Yeah.
And the setup of the room in general. And the people.
The cocktail napkin with their monogram on it, or like, you know, things like that.
That's a given.
Yeah.
But what the people are wearing and what the people are doing on that detail-oriented scale also plays into the day itself.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about what you paid for to set up with the florals and those details, but also the people and the details they bring are part of it. That's why there's black tie specific.
I think that overall we should do a podcast on this topic, like wedding trends that we see or that we see coming or something. But I think that like guest fashion at weddings is something that is becoming very trendy, and
wear white.
And you see people like Corbin like posting just guests on her feed and things like that because
Joel and Justine
do it, like and so those like icon like photographers are, you know, kind of setting the stage for that, and that's honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that's why I'm focusing more on it, you know, because that's where we want to be.
Good idea. It's a good idea, so it's good.
I think, but I get it. Like, I think that it's very important because they get all dressed up and they come to this wedding for the couple. So, like, obviously the couple loves them. They want to see them. And it's just an immersive experience at that point.
Yep.
I feel like I'm beating a nail into the wall or whatever.
Beating a dead horse. That's what the phrase is.
Thanks. I don't know. I'm not a
content creation.
Not a carpenter. Yeah, that kind of took I
don't even know where that came from.
But that was good though.
I don't know.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about as far as like content creation?
I think content creation is, I don't want to say it too soon, but I think it is one of those trends.
Do you really?
When it comes to when it comes to the couple actually paying for it, like for themselves.
What do you mean?
I feel like
you think that it's going to go away?
I think so. Everything in this industry is cyclical.
For sure.
There are very few things that just stick, and that is timeless photography and videography, as I said it, like with, like the speeches and like actually capturing those and the edit. I feel like the standard highlight film, cinematic highlight film, isn't going anywhere. I think how it's edited and the stories that are told with it and the quality will change.
Yeah.
Because 10 years ago, it did not look like it does now.
Right.
5 years ago, it did not look like it does now, as a grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But the highlight film will still be a thing, I think, for indefinitely. Obviously, social media is the reason that the content creation has even been a thing.
Yeah. Well, people always say that they don't expect TikTok to be here in the next 5 years.
We'll see.
I don't know if I agree with that.
We'll see. It's here now. That's the important part.
Yeah, that's kind of something that we always talk about on here is like, you have to like, my mind just like actually jumped out of my brain and like ran off.
What are you getting at? What are you trying to say?
You have to
keep up with?
Yeah, that's not the term that I want to say adjust, but that's not. You just have to like stay current with like what's trending, what's relevant when you're in this industry. I say that, but like also at the same time, like sometimes it's not as important. If you're like Lauren Ferry, you have an exception, but like,
well, even other than that, like I think content creation is for a very specific type of person.
Yeah, for sure. Not everybody's gonna want it.
They're gonna get it. And if they don't hire a content creator, they're just going to have somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Like they're going to...
Like their friend or something.
Like, think back before content creation was a thing. What did people do? They had hashtags. So,
yeah, we did that.
Yeah. You do...
We did hashtag YoungLove14. Don't look it up.
Yeah, that was 2014.
Dang, I shouldn't have said that.
We did a whole podcast episode on.
Don't look it up.
If it's even.
There's probably like 7
there's
photos.
Probably Young is a very common name.
I'm gonna look while you're talking.
So like that was kind of how it worked back then. If you wanted to see what I think hashtags still are a thing as far as weddings go, occasionally.
I haven't seen one in a long time.
But that was a way for people to post and you to find it.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Do you find
7,
10?
8, 9, 10. There's 10. One of them is like a random.
Oh, that was that was Justin saying.
Oh wait, no, there's. I don't know who that is.
Anyway, that was Justin, our officiant, saying basically, we have a hashtag, so take a selfie, tag it, and then he was laying down in the party bus, and then he said, "Okay, now that your phone's in your hand, turn on silent and put it away."
Okay, this is cool. So I looked up this hashtag, and there's a selfie of a family friend with a couple of other young girls who are family friends also, and one of them was our first wedding.
Wasn't our first wedding?
Yeah.
One of our first weddings.
That was my first one.
It wasn't our first one. It was one of our first
Who
ones.
was my first one?
I don't know.
It was Faith.
No, maybe it was.
Yeah.
Also,
That's fun.
I think. Is he not on there?
No, we only have 9.
He didn't hashtag it. Say Wallman. Wallman did one, but he didn't hashtag it. He took one with Aaron Pop.
Yeah. Okay, anyway.
RP.
So you think that it's going to go away?
I don't think it's here to stay. I think
there's a place for it.
it's going to be here for a little while.
Yeah, it's going to be here for a bit.
I don't think it's I think you can capitalize on it while it's here.
I truly don't know. I feel like it just depends on how social media is going to go. And I feel like social media is only going to get crazier.
Yeah.
So I feel it's going to stay. It's just going to maybe shift or change a little bit.
Because if you've noticed in the last couple of years, specifically the last 2 years, social media I don't even think knows what the next thing is. Mm-mm. Because Instagram and TikTok, the top 2 I think platforms, have done a lot of big changes, and they're doing it opposite each other basically.
Yeah.
And then they do it, and they don't love it, and then they kind of revert back to what they did before.
Yeah.
So like Instagram was pushing Reels hardcore first because TikTok was huge,
Right.
and they wanted to
And then they're like, just kidding, let's push photos.
just kidding, we're gonna go back to how it was, and now all 3 or 4 of these types of content do well, and because they're still doing short form video pushing, which sort of, because some long form videos on Instagram do pretty well. TikTok is prioritizing long form videos, so like you can post up to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't even think they know.
No.
They're just testing the waters and pushing to see what sticks.
Right.
Which is what I think just we need to do.
Yeah.
Content creation, if you want to include it in your business, do it. There's a market for it.
Yeah.
But there is no necessarily right or wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I would agree
as long
with
as
that.
you're staying true to the content part of it.
Yeah.
It's content. It's not a wedding film.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, just as like where we stand with it, we are in favor of a content creator. We think it's dope. We like it. We think it's fun.
We'll bring content creators for ourselves if the couple doesn't have it, just so we have content.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
behind the scenes.
I think that it's super helpful for vendors, like 1,000%.
I think for couples, it's not going to be a long term for everything. I think for vendors,
it's going to
be more and more common.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
yeah,
they're out of the way because they're behind you doing what you're doing.
Yeah. You know what I don't see often is like the vendors that I see that are doing it more often is the photo, video, and planners. We need I would love to see like a florist do it. I would love to see caterer.
Well, the florists do it. So the florist kind of goes hand in hand with what the planner's doing and the rental company, and because if you think about it, the planner design team is taking all of these different things and putting them together. So the florist can set up their florals and show that content, but it's not really going to hit the same until the chairs are out at the ceremony or the place settings are there with the head table.
Yeah.
Like it's a team effort that comes together. So I think the planning design team having it and then distributing it
is like the way to go.
Is the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Or ideally, your photo video team will do that. What do you think from a photographer standpoint? If you were just photographing a wedding and they didn't have videography, but they hired a content creator, how do you feel about that?
You're not going to like my answer.
Why?
Because if I'm not their planner and I don't know their budget and I don't know, like, there's certain things that I'm just not going to have an insight on. And so if they just hired me and they didn't hire a videographer, but they hired a content creator, I'd be like, well, at least they hired something.
Okay. On that note, I would argue, I would venture to say.
I told you weren't gonna like it.
Well, I know it raised a good question that I'm gonna ask you.
You should have expected that from me.
It raised a question I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
And I think I know what the answer is gonna be to this. On average, I feel like starting content creation pricing.
I knew you were gonna do this.
Probably.
I think it's like $1,200.
Let's call it $1,500. Okay. If you don't have the budget for video, but you pay $1,500 for a content creator because that's what you could afford.
Yeah.
Would you rather pay $1,500 for a content creator that gets cell phone footage in the form that we just talked about?
You're not going to like my answer.
Or would you rather pay $1,500 to a videographer that's just getting started, but know that they will at least capture the speeches in their entirety, the dances and the ceremony and all that stuff. And so you actually have that, which you wouldn't have with a content creator.
Okay, I think it just depends. Because if we're talking about if it was me today, we're getting married, my budget is $1,500 for either photo or video or content creation. It would truly depend on my options. Because if I can pay $1,500 for the best of the best content creator, or I'm paying $1,500 for a videographer that started yesterday, let's not be that dramatic, that started 6 months ago and is building their business and they just don't know a lot. It depends on what their portfolio looks like. I would dive heavily into, their knowledge of videography, their knowledge of audio, what their gear is, and all of that stuff. As me being me, a photographer, a professional in this industry, there's a chance that I would probably just end up doing the content creator if they're the very top of the top.
But what they don't get, because it's a content creator, unless they're doing content creation, unless they're doing videography under the guise of content creation, they're not getting the speeches in their entirety with good quality audio. Yeah. They're not getting the ceremony in its entirety. They're not getting the first dances. They might not be getting the first look.
I think I take out a loan.
Properly. Hold on. They're not getting the first look.
To get both.
They're not getting the first look in a sense of, you can film the first look in its entirety on an iPhone. Yeah. But what you can't do is hear the little whispers that they give to each other, that they say to each other at the first look. So I think I would rather risk it with a newer videographer so that I made sure that I might actually be able to get those things. Okay, yeah. But that also might have something to do with the fact that we didn't do that, and I wish that I had that stuff.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think... I don't know. I think that you're right. I'm changing my answer. I think that I would go with the videographer and I would risk it for the biscuit. But then like you said earlier, I'd probably have someone be like, hey, you're not in the wedding party, but like, here's my phone. Can you do content creation for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would probably, honestly, I just like thought about that when you were saying that. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
I would pay for the videographer and then I'd find someone who would be willing to do content creation. Like for me, that's a friend or something.
Yeah.
Because I would truly want both. But I think that you're right. Like, because we didn't have video at our wedding. I mean, that's the thing though, is like, I just wish I even had, at this point, a cell phone video of me and my dad dancing, and I don't. Like, that would have been better than nothing at all.
I get that.
So...
But that's one thing.
But, like, if they took a video of a speech, and I'm like, I can't even hear what they're freaking saying, what a waste of money.
But that's the thing.
I would have rather had the videographer at that point.
One of those things would get that.
Yeah, right. And it would have been the videographer.
Both of those things would get that.
Yeah.
But one of those things would get far more than that.
Yeah.
That's also important, like the speeches.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right.
I think I'm just
Are you going to cut out my original answer because you didn't like it?
No, I'm going to add that in because it made me think about that question.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense if I
Yeah, I came full circle.
I knew I would get you there.
But that's it's a discussion. That's why it's important to talk about this with your partner when you're trying to figure out, like, when you have a budget, you're trying to figure it out. Like, you really have to have an open and honest discussion and weigh out the pros and cons. And what's right for one person is not going to be necessarily the right answer for somebody else. And that's okay.
Ironically, that same wedding we talked about from earlier this year that did content creation with us inquired originally for photography and content creation
no video.
only, not video. But after we explained like what content creation is and what it isn't, and explained that with videography they would also get these things, which includes speeches, dances, those kind of things. They're like, that makes sense.
They luckily had the budget to do both.
But they had the budget to do both.
And then they ended up loving the video so much they wanted to rent out a movie theater.
Yeah, I wish we would have done that.
Yeah,
that'd have been dope.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all that I had for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing to say is just that content creation and videography are not the same thing. Yeah. They're not interchangeable. They both serve very different purposes.
Yeah. But there's a place for both.
And all of it, all of the visual people, photographer, content creator, videographer, can coexist. Coexist. Is that coexist if there's three? Where's co-2?
I think coexisting is just like, it's not necessarily a number. It's all of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, they can all coexist at the wedding, on the wedding day.
If you guys could actually see, like, sometimes I can look at Alex and like I know what the inside of his brain looks like. It's a mess. It's a mess. If you guys could see what I see every day.
I have a wrinkly wet brain.
No, it's just like all of these different colored dots that have like string connected to them. It's like, it looks like, you know, like when you are watching like a true crime like thing and it's like a fake true crime thing and they have like all these pins and like all of these strings that are like connected to, like, that's your brain.
This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. It is. I'll be sitting on the couch.
Your brain's not on drugs, for the record.
I'll be sitting on a couch, and we'll have had a conversation an hour ago, and we've been watching TV or whatever, and my brain just took that concept, and then this let it here, and then something about this. It could have
Yours is slow though.
It could have been one word that took me over here. And then something here, maybe here, and then I went down the rabbit hole here, and then I'm like, hey, and then I say something to you, and you're like, where in the crap did that come from? Yeah. So then I have to like trace back the steps.
Your brain is like that Crystalia skit. Come closer, come closer. Okay, this is the way we're gonna go. We're gonna go bang, and then we're gonna bang,
and then bang,
bang, bang, bang.
Closer.
Come closer.
I want to feel you.
Oh my God. Yours is like slow though. Like
no, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Mine is like, I think of one thing and then like a millisecond later, I'm like 30 different topics down the road that are unrelated, but one tiny thought got me there. And it's just like, boom, boom. Yours is like, boom, boom.
I think it depends on what we're talking about.
No.
It 100% does.
No.
It 100% does.
No, because you'll be like, remember that weird thing that we were talking about like 7 days ago?
You're fired.
Thanks for tuning in on this one. Let us know what you guys think about content creators. Are you for them? Are you against them? Love them, hate them? Whatever the case might be, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us today, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.